neighboring countries. But the federal government insisted it was an inevitable temporary policy. But let's do an update on this issue tonight. Good evening and welcome to today's edition of Weekend File. It all began in August when the Nigerian government took a hard decision on the porosity of the nation's borders being leveraged by people who indulge in activities that undermine government economic policies. Since then, Nigeria's borders remained closed to allow security forces to develop strategies to curb smuggling and other nefarious activities at the land borders. It is a fact that before now, the borders had been notorious with businesses detrimental to nation's economic and global reputation, such as gun running, or better put, illegal arms dealing, smuggling of rice and other restricted items, human trafficking, and diversion of petroleum products. Within the 4 months, of the closure, foreign ministers of neighboring countries stepped up constructive engagements with their Nigerian counterpart, which culminated in a meeting that deliberated on agreeable measures that could lead to reopening of the borders. We hear that a joint communique after the meeting indicated formation of a tripartite border patrol force whose modus operandi will be itemized in the next meeting later this month. Well, let's interrogate the entire scenario and raise pertinent questions. First, what has been the economic consequences of the closure? What are the lessons learned? And how would the nations involved achieve crime-free borders and still adhere to the tenets of ECOWAS protocol? Thank you for tuning into the program. My name is Kirian Umayo. Weekend File starts right now with the news. Now, the conduct of elections in both Kogi and Bayelsa states, especially on the part of the voters and security operatives, have generally been commended. The second half of the process, which is collation and counting of ballots, is ongoing at the moment in both Kogi and Bayelsa states. Mayor Ogidi, who has been keeping an eagle eye on the process in both states, now brings us an update.
Kogi and Bayelsa, states in a waiting mood. Candidates' program of activities graduate from campaigns to prayers for victory. Electorates with refreshing candor staying back with eagle eyes after casting their ballots to protect their votes as sorting and counting continue.
Nobody has complained of any electoral malpractice.
And I'm also eager to get the outcome of the election.
Delay in arrival of election materials and pocket skirmishes, sad commentaries in the electoral history of Nigeria repeated in few places. But in all, many say it was a good outing.
The reports I'm receiving from various other places have been very, very wonderful. INEC has been very excellent, very wonderful exercise. So
every year, the processes are improved, and I think we have a better outing for INEC. And this election appears to be better than the last election. It has not swayed the state. Was conducted ourselves in a way that our elections will produce the leaders we want.
The eyes of the nation and even those outside the country are on Bayelsa and Kogi states, waiting for the final whistle to be blown by the umpire, that is INEC, as the tidying up of results continue, while the nation stays awake. Mayor Ogidi, MT News.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has expressed satisfaction with the turnout of voters and the general conduct as reported by the INEC officials on the field. A statement by the INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, INEC is not happy with the conduct of some candidates and their supporters in carrying out violent acts, despite all the efforts of the Commission to promote peaceful elections, including several engagements with the stakeholders and signing of peace accords. The Commission condemns the acts and as evaluating these polls, and of course the exercise enters its critical phase of result Ballot Coalition. Voters in the two states are advised to remain calm as the Commission will ensure that the elections are concluded fairly and credibly. Now, away from election matters, President Muhammadu Buhari is back in the country after a private visit to the United Kingdom. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports that the president, who returned to the country 2 days ahead of schedule, had a few minutes chat with newsmen where he restated his administration's commitment to probity and accountability.
The Nigerian Air Force 001 aircraft conveying President Muhammadu Buhari taxied to a halt at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, at exactly 9:45 Friday evening local time. On hand to receive him were his Chief of Staff Abba Kyari, Minister of the FCT Muhammad Musa Bello, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Tai, and representatives of other service chiefs. Also at the airport include the Inspector General of Police Muhammad Adamu, Director General, Department of State Services Yusuf Magaji Bichi, Acting Chairman of the EFCC Ibrahim Magu, and other top government functionaries. What next after your well-deserved rest in London?
We are going to work harder to be accountable and try to make Nigerians understand why we do certain things. The accountability from bottom to top is absolutely necessary. Whoever is responsible for government property is public property, it's not personal. He has to do it according to the law. That's what I expect. And I think we have been around long enough to impress people that we mean what we say.
President Buhari also used the opportunity to clear the air on the ongoing reorganization in government as a deliberate attempt at enhancing effective service delivery.
They said 35 people were sacked in Vice President's office. We just created a ministry and we reorganized, and people are giving it ethnic and political dimension. It's unfortunate.
During the visit to London, which lasted 13 days, President Muhammadu Buhari signed into law the amended Deep Offshore Act. The critical act dismantled major obstacles to Nigeria getting its fair, rightful, and equitable share of income from oil production. President Buhari was also joined by the Minister of Education Adamu and other stakeholders to engage the management of Pearson Educational Group on ways of enhancing the development of education in Nigeria. Also in London, the President was at the Lambeth Palace for high-level talks with the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Most Reverend Justin Welby. Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And from Port Harcourt comes the report that Christians have been urged to apply themselves and play their role towards actualizing the dream and aspirations of the nation. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo gave this charge at the Great Mind Summit organized by the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Province 5 in Port Harcourt. Usinachi Abraham has the report.
Great Mind Summit is the brainchild of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Province 5. The summit is designed to teach Christian faithful how to exercise kingdom dominion in their various fields of endeavor. Keynote speaker and Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, took the congregation through some principles that Nigerians must apply to be able to exercise dominion anywhere they find themselves.
To let young people understand what the principles of the gospel are, especially with respect to building your business, operating in whatever space that you find yourself. And really, one of the most important things is righteousness. Scripture says righteousness exalts a nation. It exalts an individual. And it's not just a moral principle, it's an economic principle. If you are righteous, if you are trustworthy, if you can be trusted, you will attract business, you will attract patronage. For the you're honest, because the whole world is looking for honest people.
Deputy Governor of Rivers State, Dr. Ipalibo Haribanigo, commended the Redeemed Christian Church of God for reaching out to the youths through various goal-oriented programs. High point of the summit is the declaration of blessings on Nigerians by the General Overseer Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, who is in the state for a Holy Ghost Congress. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
The issue of restructuring has been touted for some time now as the way forward for the country, with suggestions of numerous dimensions on its implementation. However, at a forum in Lagos, Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, re-echoed nation building while he says it is achievable through peaceful coexistence and reorientation. Let's hear from Awal Yusuf Jibo.
With the theme Restructuring Lessons from Brexit, Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola, who was of the opinion that the quest for a better life by Nigerians is legitimate and statutory, stressed that restructuring does not translate to national growth. He said, while many Nigerians perceive restructuring to mean creation of more states and local governments, others see it as a means to increase revenue distribution.
A document may point the way. I agree. It may show the direction. It is we, you and I, who must tread the path that it shows to us. A good document that is not backed by the right attitude does not take a people far. If anything really first needs restructuring, it must start with us as a people, with our attitude and with our mindset.
The minister appealed to well-meaning Nigerians and corporate organizations to support government's efforts aimed at improving the quality of life of the citizens. In Lagos, Awoli Sujibo, NTA News.
Now on security matters now, 5 members of Boko Haram terrorist group have been killed in a counterattack by troops of Operation Lafia Dole. A statement by the Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator, Colonel Aminu Ilyasu, says the terrorists who were on revenge mission were eliminated by troops of 64 and 98 Task Force Battalion and elements of the Armed Forces Special Forces at Malam Faturi, Badan Council area of Borno State. Gun trucks, anti-aircraft and rocket-propelled guns were among arms recovered from the encounter. 16 terrorists were recently killed in Malam Faturi area. You remember the fake Kano number plates with the inscription "Cheap Whip" that trended on the social media? We have good news. The FRSA have arrested some persons who are engaged in the production of illegal number plates, including the fake Kano Cheap Whip in Kano and Kebbi State. The arrest was made through the concerted effort of the Federal Safety Commission and the Department of State Security. A statement by BC Kazim, the core public education officer, reveals that after carrying out some intelligence report, the Corps Marshal Bobe Oyeyemi alerted the DSS and effected the arrests at different locations in Kano and Kebbi states. The suspects have been charged to court. There are indications that the Federal Capital Territory FCT will soon have a functional public transportation traffic management system that will safeguard the lives of motorists and road users. This indication follows the launch of a policy document titled "The Safe and Efficient Transport Policy in the Territory" by the FCT Minister Mohammed Musa Bello. Shaibu Onoze Yakubu has that report.
The high influx of people into the nation's capital city, infrastructure and other facilities, as well as the intercity traffic sector, have been overstretched. To this end, the city administration partnership with the Federal Road Safety Corps and other relevant agencies is to enforce extant laws as regards to traffic management in the territory. FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello reiterated that activities of tricycle operators in the city is not banned, but only restricted to designated areas.
The laws are very clear. There are designated areas allowed for motorcycles. There are designated areas allowed for tricycles. And what we are trying to do is to emphasize that. Obviously, the laws do not allow a motorcycle to be on an express. Neither does the law allows a tricycle to be on an express.
We just need to respect traffic rules and regulations. Once there is more gridlock, the face oncoming traffic. And big man is a battle that must be won.
Stakeholders believe that this synergy will ensure safe, functional and efficient traffic management system. To ensure sanity on the road, the Federal Road Safety Corps has provided patrol vehicles, motorbikes, ambulances as well as towing trucks, while private companies who have keyed into the initiative also provided fleet of taxis. Shuaibu Onozeakubu, NTA News.
The Presidential Amnesty Program has trained 400 indigenous people of the Niger Delta on offshore safety management in response to the need for local content development in the oil and gas sector. The 6-month training is centered on safety and risk management as well as occupational health and physical security strategies, and is expected to equip youths in the region with requisite skills to take advantage of opportunities in the petroleum sector. Coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Professor Charles Dokubo, presented the trainees with a certificate in Bonema State and urged them to use the skills for economic growth.
And all that. If we don't have that and continue to complain, we have been marginalized and ostracized. It doesn't address the issue. For us, the most important thing is that our people are also qualified, certificated, that gives them the right to work in this oil and gas environment. This was an opportunity I looked for, I searched for years. But I thank Almighty God and the coordinator for Amnesty Program for bringing this to the community. I'm a competent firefighter now. I can fight fire wherever I see fire breakouts.
Professor Charles Dokubo also said that middle and lower level career training in the oil and gas industry is ongoing in all the Niger Delta states. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has added value to teaching and research development at the Sokoto State University. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports that the agency has established a modern station at the university in this regard.
The intervention project was initiated by NIMET to support the young university in developing research and teaching, particularly in the areas of meteorological sciences. The ardent hope for the university management is to ensure effective use and maintenance of the project to achieve the goal of promoting teaching and research development. The establishment of the modern meteorological station will, however, boost the admission process of the university by making relevant courses more attractive. Highlight was the signing of Memorandum of Understanding between the management of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency and the Sokoto State University.
So we as an agency, we therefore have an obligation on our side to do our maximum best to state universities have commitments that show clearly their commitment.
And the center will assist us in our accreditation exercise. It will also make the course attractive, that is geography.
The signing of the MOU would not only deepen the relationship among the two institutions, but offer more opportunities to the university, especially in the areas of manpower training and development. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
You're watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA, and today we are taking a closer look at the closure of Nigeria's borders, its merit and matters arising. Do stay with us. Correspondence report is ahead.
You can choose to manage everything else, but not your data. Get more out of life with the new Airtel data plans. Dial *141# today. Data is life.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Stopping
the kids from playing stops the learning. That's why we stop the germs.
Indeed, Safeguard fights against germs. Safeguard removes 99% of germs.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, cordially invites the general public to the 2019 Abuja Carnival taking place between 23rd and 25th November 2019. Theme, Culture for Peace. Street Carnival and opening ceremony, Saturday 23rd November 2019. Venue from Old Parade Ground to Area 1 Abuja. Time from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Other cultural activities on display are Children's Fiesta at GSS Area 10 Garki Abuja, Durbar at Kuje Stadium, Boat Regatta at Jabi Dam, Masquerade Fiesta at Government Day Secondary School, Gwagwalada, Traditional Cuisine Fair and Bush Bar at Old Parade Ground, Command Performance and Award Night, as well as Contemporary Music Fiesta at the Old Parade Ground from 23rd to 25th November 2019. Time from 8:30 p.m. till dawn daily. Deaconess Grace Isu Gekbe, Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Information and Culture, announcer.
You don't wait for life. You go to meet life. It's not about how many chances you get. It's what you do with what you've got. Cup after cup. Morning after morning. Start strong. Finish strong. It all starts with a Nescafe.
Helpline Foundation Nigeria and partners present the 3rd Annual African Women Conference AWC 2019, a gathering of experts, institutions, corporate organizations, and individuals promoting the growth, stability, and development of African women, through which various resources available to African women can be channeled towards the sustainable development of the continent.
Keynote speakers: Dimple Tali, Ramatu Tijani Liu, Madam Magda Kupa, Binta Masigarba, Karim Ranim, Ibtisame Azao, Dr. Anissa Nagra, veteran Nollywood actresses.
Theme: Building a Coalition to End Gender Inequality in Africa. Dates 21st to 23rd November 2019. Venue: Kenzi Manara Palace, Marrakesh, Morocco. For participation and inquiries, visit www.africa-womenconference.org or call +234 806 5388 424. AWC, building an Africa where every woman's potential is fully harnessed. Powered by Helpline Foundation Nigeria, Echoes Africa Initiatives New York, International Center for Diplomacy in Morocco.
This year, like every other year, for over a decade, we celebrate and reward African creatives around the world at the African Academy Awards ZAFA 2019 in Abuja, Nigeria. The second homecoming event is a 3-day gathering of industry stakeholders and enthusiasts to network as well as encourage and motivate budding talents. Movie screenings, exhibitions, and masterclasses will hold at the Silverbird Galleria on the 22nd to 23rd November 2019. The awards and gala night on the 24th of November 2019 at the prestigious Transcorp Hilton Hotel Abuja. For inquiries and sponsorship, advert placements, and tickets, call the following numbers on your screen now or visit www.zafa.org.
This is wonderful. I'm super excited about it. Nothing is expected of them other than awesomeness.
ZAFA 2019. Come expecting the unexpected.
Welcome back. Border communities in Nigeria have been sharing their views on what they perceive to be the impact of border closure on their livelihoods and the country in general. Our first report comes from Abeokuta in Ogun State, southwest Nigeria, which shares border with Benin Republic to the west. Correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports that people in Abeokuta are optimistic that Nigerians stand to gain much more, provided that the federal government sustains efforts to ensure that the country grows what she eats.
Idiroko in Ogun State is one of Nigeria's outposts with Benin Republic, where partial border closure announced by the federal government is much in force. The border is notorious for smuggling activities, with commodities such as rice, groundnut oil, and frozen poultry being ferried across borders illegally. With the closure of the border, the initial fear is that sourcing for some of the smuggled items would pose serious difficulty for Nigerians. Rice, a very important staple among Nigerians, is one of such items. That fear is now giving way to renewed consciousness that Nigeria must grow what she eats and eat what she grows. This rice mill in Lafingwa Market, Abeokuta, is where Ofada, a local rice popular among Nigerians, is processed. Renewed demand for Ofada and other local rice produced in different parts of the country, they observed, is due to restricted access to foreign rice as well as nutritional benefits associated with local rice.
Ofada rice doesn't pile. If we grind now, about 2-3 weeks we can't even sell. But now, immediately we grind, immediately they will buy it.
And also the processing. The fact that when you buy local rice, you are sure that it's not something that is expired that you are eating.
At 70-year-old, Pa Olutunde Ogundele works less as a surveyor and more as a rice farmer. He is happy that his produce has now become well sought after by Nigerians thanks to the federal government's policy on food security.
Every year, I only cultivate about 11 hectares of land. If it's rain that destroys farmer, if we rain for well, we will get yield.
As the largest producer and consumer of rice in West Africa, Nigeria also holds the unenviable record as the largest importer of the commodity, spending about $1.65 billion to import about 7.5 million metric tons of rice. In Abeokuta, Adini Taiwo, NTA News.
The impact of the partial border closure is perhaps more evident in Katsina State, where security operatives covering northwest have intercepted 2 J5 buses loaded with about 600 bags of imported foreign rice. Shehu Adamu reports on this and other benefits of this exercise in Katsina State.
Other items seized by the operatives of the drill include 561 jerrycans of foreign vegetable oil, 213 cartons of noodles, and 35 belts of second-hand clothes. The Sector 4 coordinator of the operations, ACG Bashir Abubakar, said the buses were intercepted and smugglers arrested at Katsina and Kebbi states.
This is not an operation that is selective, either in terms of tribe, section, or whatever, or religion. It is an all-inclusive operation. Every part of Nigeria is involved.
With this development, rice farmers in Katsina State are optimistic that the objectives of the national border drill will be fully realized.
As I'm speaking to you at the moment, the ongoing border closure has made the local rice more valuable, with about 70% of Nigerians satisfied with its quality.
Our farmers are breaking even when they produce their rice.
They said the exercise has not only increased their economic fortunes, but assured food security.
This is for the benefit of all Nigerians. And it is not something that you will see today or tomorrow. It's something that will be beneficial to people of Nigeria.
Governor Aminu Bello Masari, who reaffirmed his administration's support to the ongoing border closure, advised the security personnel on the exercise to always discharge their duties in accordance with the rules of engagement. On their part, heads of security formation in Katsina are of the view for the extension of the period of the exercise for more improved security situations.
I cannot remember in the distant future when an action as audacious as this has ever been taken in the history of this country. And I also want to observe that it has been so successful.
Many of the bandits have also accepted the amnesty. Those of them that did not accept it earlier are now willing to be part of the amnesty. And it's all connected to this issue of border closure.
Activities of national border drill operations in the northwest axis are said to have achieved 80% success. In Katsina, Shehu Adamu, NTA News.
In Kwara State, we hear that imported rice, for instance, has practically disappeared from the markets, leaving farmers in the state with the challenge of filling the demand gap. While this appears to be a direct impact of the closure of Nigerian borders, Yabude Olunshola reports that the farmers are, however, determined to surmount the challenge.
President Muhammadu Buhari ordered the closure of borders with neighboring countries in order to stop illegal movement of crude oil, drugs, weapons, cars, and boost local patronage of made-in-Nigeria foods, especially rice, which many Nigerians have become addicted to. The closure of Chikanda border in Barutin local government area of Kwara State has put rice farmers at a more vantage position.
foodstuff or food produce that are coming from the Republic to this place, since it has reduced, well, I think it has taken a good advantage to us, it has given us an advantage.
Nigerian rice is nutritious, yes. Nigerian rice is free from any chemical, it is natural rice.
For the closure on rice and other food products, I'm happy.
The rice business chain is also undergoing rejuvenation. Aisha Muhammad has been into local rice production for 20 years.
Now we are thanking God that we are selling better than before.
This machine we are using, there are different types. So there's another one, another type that makes work faster and better than this self.
The Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Hamad Ali, says the service has generated more revenue since the closure of the border. A visit to the market in Ilorin shows that over 90% of rice sold are locally produced, while the low percentage of available imported rice is sold as high as 28,000 naira per bag of 50 kg. This is against the 18,000 naira it was sold before the border closure. Although the price of locally produced rice is on the high side, having increased from 12,600 to 22,000 naira per bag of 50 kg, more Nigerians now consume the indigenous rice. Iyabode Olorunshola, NTA News.
Thank you, Iyabode. Now, let's turn attention to Sokoto State, where closure of Nigeria's land borders has engendered renewed zeal and vigor among farmers in the state. Muhammad Nasir tells us more.
The people of Sokoto State have already answered the clarion call by President Muhammadu Buhari to go back to the farms for the attainment of self-sufficiency in food production. However, data from the National Bureau of Statistics indicate that trade in agricultural goods by Nigeria in 2018 had a deficit of 548 billion naira, with the country importing agricultural produce than exporting. Continued closure of Nigeria's land borders shut down activities of importation of agricultural goods, and therefore there is the need to close the gap created.
If you don't close your borders and allow the local technology to grow, there is no way we can compete with the United States of America, there is no way we can compete with China. Such technologies are far away. But the only way we can develop and demand our own is by the way of closing these borders.
The development opened a new page for local manufacturers of rice in Sokoto State, who increased processing to fill the gap of importation of the commodity. It also provided a lot of value chain to communities.
This is an encouragement to the farmers. Next time, I believe the government will come back and impact more on the farmers, on the input that are supposed to be given to the farmers, so that we can use that opportunity again and grow rice.
Sokoto State is the largest producer of onion in Nigeria, and the country's consumption demand per annum cannot be met with 1.1 million metric tons deficit.
To diversify our economy, not to depend on oil alone, but on agriculture.
Already, farmers and manufacturers of agricultural goods are on their feet to meet the nation's demand. More support to them could further guarantee success. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
Rice farmers in Cross River State have taken advantage of the border closure to increase rice production and are also enjoying increased patronage. Paul Ebel reports that the people are excited about the enormous economic benefits of the border closure and the effects on their lives.
With a daily harvest of 150 bags of 50 kg of rice from the 515 hectare of land, the Ayade Integrated Farm in Bebi, Obanliku local government area, and other rice farms across the state are enjoying high patronage. The farmers will equally benefit immensely from the rice mill, as it will reduce the cost of traveling to other states to process their harvested produce. The people commended the state government for laying a solid foundation which has exposed them to mechanized farming and improved their socio-economic well-being.
The border being closed will be given a boost to the farmers, and it will also add to the productivity or the efficiency of all our products.
It's a big plus to Cross River State. It's a big plus to Nigeria.
The ultra-modern rice mill under construction is considered one of the biggest in Nigeria, with a storage capacity of over 6,500 metric tons. The project, in its advanced stage of completion, with a 37 meters height elevator, 3,000 by 2-ton silos, will produce varieties of rice and create job opportunities for over 20,000 people.
Almost 90% placed. We can go around to see.
Nigeria doesn't need to import rice into the country. We have rice in abundance in Nigeria.
The people are of the view that if the federal government's policy is sustained to inculcate patriotism among Nigerians before the borders are reopened, it will boost the rice capacity and enhance the nation's food security. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
And if you just joined us, this is a weekend file, and part of what we're doing tonight is to examine the gains of Nigeria's land border, which has been closed for about 4 months now. And Ken Ukoha, the president of the National Association of Nigerian Traders, will be talking to us very shortly on, of course, matters arising. Do stay with us.
Hey! Emeka, drive the limousine Bugatti, come inside now! Waiting below 200 naira recharge card for me. 200 naira?
Just recharge 200 naira for 1 day, and you say fit follow win for the hundreds and hundreds of heavy prices like a can of pepper, industrial sewing machine, grinding machine, and generator. Glow, my own done better.
My grinder will go win. Now here I go put up. Make that. Hey, make una no go recharge you na Glow. I don't win generator. And here, now myself. Oh.
The more you recharge, the more your chance the better. Glow Unlimited.
Son, being good at something requires strength. It requires pushing yourself. It requires putting in more. That's why the new improved Born Beats
every day.
And joining me now in the studio is Dr. Ken Ukoha, President, National Association of Nigerian Traders. Dr. Ken, we're glad to have you this evening on Weekend File.
Thank you very much, Karen.
Now, let's begin by getting your views of the issue of the border closure in the first instance, because it's been criticized by some persons at different quarters. So what's your view about it?
I have said that if there is anything that this government should be giving kudos for, I think it's this. I mean, this is the first, and this is the right step that I've taken, and should be commended. This is the government that has gotten the lever to stand up to say, look, enough is enough. We want to walk the talk. We want to patronize made in Nigerian goods, made in Nigerian products, and made in Nigerian services. And this is the way to go about it. And we do not have to flood the whole place with imported rice, imported poultry products, imported second-hand clothing, and then imported vegetable oils, and all of that. Why we have local substitutes that are even better, and therefore we keep, famishing the farmers and destroying our livelihoods. But then this government said, look, enough is enough. Let's look at what we have and continue in this pathway of strengthening the farmers as well as giving them livelihoods.
Okay, now some have also argued that the move negated the ECOWAS protocol. Do you think so?
I don't think so. I have a lot of reasons.
Go ahead.
Now, number one is that if you look at the ECOWAS protocols, I'm going to give you the protocols one by one. First is the protocol on rule of origin, which provides that for every good that will be passed through the ECOWAS trade liberation scheme, it must have fully manufactured. 1. 2. It may also have value addition. 3. It may also have change in tariff head. These are the 3 components. And these are provisions of the ECOWAS protocol on rules of origin. Now, this rule of origin is tied to the ECOWAS trade liberation scheme, which is a protocol on its own. In fact, the first and the foremost protocol that Economic Community of West African States designed for regional integration. Number 2 is the ECOWAS protocol on interstate transit of goods. Now, what Nigeria has done is also in consonance with this particular protocol. Why do I say so? The protocol provides that for goods to move from one border of a member country into another, these are goods from third party, goods coming in from outside the shield of the region. Now, these goods must be cleared over there and be escorted by the customs of that country to the destination country and handed over with the seal unbroken, handed over to the customs of the destination country. And this has always been obeyed in breach by many of the countries that are surrounding us. Now, what Nigeria has done is to call ECOWAS intervention, call ECOWAS back to memory in this particular line. Number 3 is the protocol on, the protocol that also looks at the common external tariff. Now, common external tariff, the CET, was, agreed upon by the member states of ECOWAS. And there are 5, key notes to this particular tariff. This includes 1, 0 tariff, goods number 2 under 5% tariff, goods number 3 under 10% tariff, goods number 4 under 20%, and goods number 5 under 35% tariff. Yeah. But then you will see that some of our neighboring countries, member states of ECOWAS, have always obeyed this particular one also in breach. Wow. When they clear the goods over there, they would allow unscrupulous traders and importers to now come out of the port and they begin to reload. They begin to, transload these particular goods with the seal that I talked about earlier within the context of the other protocol, and then transload. Number 2 is that they will disobey the way bill, axoload protocol, and then they will flood the particular country with this kind of goods. Number 4 of these protocols is the one that does not respect national laws. Okay. Of course, ECOWAS is a supranational body.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, now, you watched all the reports that we put out a short while ago. What's your feeling about that? I mean, Nigerians have been celebrating.
I think everybody, Nigerians, over 90% of Nigerians that I've spoken to are celebrating this. Everybody's clapping. There is no household in Nigeria where you do not have farmers. And if farmers have been, shortchanged by the importation of unwholesome rice that have been stale, rice that have overstayed, rice that have been poisoned with chemicals, rice that have been embalmed like dead bodies that we have been consuming. And all of a sudden, the government said, no, we are no longer going to spend our money in health, related, issues. We are better to spend this money in agriculture, in food production, production so as to maintain food security and reduce poverty and drop people out of unemployment. I think that's it.
Okay, part of the issues arising presently is the fact that the homegrown rice has skyrocketed from 16,000 to about 22,000 or thereabout, as I had in one of the reports there. Is that a healthy development?
It is very healthy. You know why? Look at telephone today. When telephone came, 090 came in. What happened? Even when the mobile telephone came up, we had SIM cards costing as much as, 25,000 naira. But today, a SIM card costs over about 200 naira. But that's what you do, what you get at the end of the day. What is happening now? And I want to challenge those who are saying this. Is it better for me to, begin to buy that rice that is imported, poisoned, that has stayed in a warehouse for more than 15 years, and be consuming for 12,000 naira that I paid? It's not better for me to consume that rice that is healthy?
Okay, now chemical. All right. Apart from rice, what about other food items?
Beautiful.
That are also affected by this.
Good. Now you have the poultry products. There has been a lot of reports in this country where NAFDAC has destroyed a lot of poultry products imported into this country because of the poisonous substances. Most of them are still. And today, the poultry sector has diminished. But what this particular policy or action of government has done now is to motivate and provoke production of those things. Look at our oil sector.
Would you want to see an extension of this, or should it end anytime soon?
I think that government has come at a point now where it has brought the two countries, two neighbors, together within the ECOWAS, namely Benin Republic and Niger Republic. And there's been agreement.
They're talking about a joint border patrol.
Exactly.
Is it going to work?
It is going to work.
All right.
Very importantly.
All right. And, well, we're out of time. I'd like to thank you, Dr. Ken Ukoha, for coming to the program. You are the #1 man when it comes to trading in Nigeria, and this coming from you makes a lot of sense. So we thank you very much for being part of our show this evening. Dr. Ken Ukoha is the president of National Association of Nigerian Traders. So we'll be back very shortly.
Travel and counting. 20 years of promoting tourism in Africa and diaspora. Over 3 million kilometers traveled. Over 30 African countries visited. Explored the diaspora in 4 continents. Connected over 100,000 happy tourists to Africa. Reached over 50 million homes. Igniting smiles across Africa and beyond. As Gogi Africa turns 20, we thank you and invite you to join us in the quest for 20 must-visit destinations in partnership with the largest TV network in Africa, the NTA, Ministry of Information and Culture, Ministry of Transportation, Lagos State Government, Canon, Delta Airlines, Royal Caribbean, Tour Brokers International. You too can still be a partner. Call the numbers on your screen or info@gogeafrica.tv. Goge Africa, celebrating 2 decades of heritage, travel and tourism.
The commencement of the most stimulating and compelling contest on television. This contest is only for the strong, the intelligent, and the talented. Get ready for the Unity Challenge reality TV show. Coming
soon.
Super Eagles of Nigeria to take on Lesotho on Sunday in their second game of 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. Gift George has details of this and more on Sports Update.